Phasmophobia is weird. I'm someone who normally plays comfy stuff like Slime Rancher, but I've been playing a lot of Phasmo lately. While I only have about 80 hours in it, that's way more than I ever expected. So I wanted to talk about what I think the appeal of Phasmo is, and why I think you should play it. Hi there, I'm Kat. And I don't really understand why I like Phasmophobia. It's a game about paranormal investigation, like those terrible TV shows, and depending on the type of ghost, they can really jump out and kill you at any time. So why does this wimpy little cat girl like it so damn much? It really doesn't make sense. I don't really like horror as a genre. I either find it boring, or when it's really good horror that borders more on the psychological side, it scares the bejesus out of me. So why Phasmo? So today, let's investigate this instead of ghosts.
Welcome back. I've got some jobs ready for you.
Let's get into a quick rundown of how the game is played in case you're unfamiliar. If you're already super familiar, feel free to skip to this timestamp. And for context, I'm one of those weirdos who likes to play solo. You enter a building with the assignment of investigating a ghost that has been disturbing the residents or owners. The main goal is to find what type of ghost it is, but also the randomized objectives as well. You're given some equipment, but many of the very useful items you must buy yourself with in-game currency earned by successful investigations. However, if you were to die during said investigation, you lose the optional equipment, and depending on the difficulty, you lose the value of that equipment as well. The game mostly consists of ferrying equipment from the truck, which is your safe zone, to the house. You start collecting clues, and usually you want to narrow down where the ghost's favorite room is and dump all of your equipment there. You must beware though, because if you spend too much time in the dark, or witness too many ghost shenanigans, you lose your sanity. And as you go insane, the ghost becomes more violent. The ghost will eventually do what's called a hunt, and lock all the exits, and try to find and kill you. Your only defense is to keep your distance, find somewhere to hide, and wait for it to be over. If you happen to have a lighter and a smudge stick with you, you can use it to confuse the ghost for a couple seconds to get away, but this only goes so far. Once you have enough evidence to confidently guess the ghost and you've done all of the objectives you wish to do, you pack up and you hope you're right. I know a good chunk of people watching this will already be familiar with this game and horror in general, but if you're like me and not really into horror, the most obvious appeal is the puzzle aspect of the game. Each game you're given a random ghost, and using all of your items you must find out which one. Do you remember the game Guess Who? Perhaps from your childhood? Yeah, it's like that. You gotta know what questions to ask and when. Sometimes literally. Are you here? And for me at least, I love running through my procedure. Everyone is a little bit different, unless you're speedrunning, of course. And it's not just about surviving. I mean, that's important. Can't get paid if you're dead. But also about solving the ghost. Like the most terrifying Rubik's Cube you've ever seen. As you get better, the side objectives become more appealing. Plus the extra coin for perfect investigation, which requires a correct ghost identification, the side objectives being completed, picking up a bone left by the ghost, and taking all perfect photos of ghost-related junk. So maybe I've been looking into the wrong horror games, but this non-linear, endless gameplay loop is what keeps me coming back. All the pieces slide together to make this twisted demon of a picture. I really enjoy how the book is set up. The process of elimination is such a satisfying mechanic. I often sit there and argue with myself if I should cross out a possibility based on a crumb of evidence or a hunch. Because many of the secondary evidence pieces are, this ghost does this more frequently. Like, for example, the banshee is more likely to sing, But this is all by chance, and the likelihood is just adjusted per ghost. It's not solid evidence. It may just be a spirit that was a theater kid when they were alive. It's like slowly lifting the fog on a silhouette and trying to make out who it is. And that kind of leads me to my next point. Phasmo has huge replay value. Some of that has to do with the lack of a concrete narrative. You're free to make it your own. But also the randomness. The surprise and intrigue makes it almost addictive, at least for me. And every time you lose to a ghost, or are unsatisfied with your investigation in some way, like feeling too slow, you just want to spin again. But who knows when you'll get that same ghost type again. Some investigations are simple and by the book, so to speak, and some really throw you for a loop. Like a ghost that is super active, super quiet, or a demon that hunts you the moment you walk in the door. It's that keeps me coming back. And with the new update coming, that hasn't been released yet as of the writing of the script, there will be a more dynamic leveling system with prestige, giving experienced players access to upgraded equipment and a weekly no-consequence challenge mode, both of which further increased replay value. I should also mention, although I have very little experience with multiplayer, I'm certain that is a huge factor in replay value as well for many. My favorite type of multiplayer games are the cooperative ones. There's nothing like the warm fuzzies you get from solving a puzzle or besting a foe with another. There are a lot of different angles you can take when you approach Phasmo. You can take the speed and efficiency view and aim to solve the ghost as quickly as possible with the most efficient order and set of items used. Or you can provoke the ghost just for fun and see how long you can survive in there with it. You can tailor the experience to your interests and goals. Are you aiming for maximum spook potential? Maybe a big challenge? Or perhaps you want to maximize goofiness? It's all up to you. Even just being a new player with zero research is an interesting angle. It's one I personally didn't take, but I heard the game is at its most stressful when you only know what's written in-game, which can be confusing and even misleading at times. And circling back to a previous point, the lack of narrative is an absolute plus for me. Even the radio guy in the truck gets a little annoying, and his Australian announcements are one of the very few crumbs of plot running around.
We've arrived. Check the equipment and get set up before investigating.
You can even imagine your own plot, which I'm sure a lot of people have found value in. But I like that it's kinda just you and the ghost. Like forbidden friends that are just confused and misunderstood. It's a stalemate between you and a violent being plaguing the area. You just have to collect all your data and preserve your life. How do I play Phasmo? Like the boring control freak I am. It's a checklist with an adventure. It sounds dumb on paper, and well, it is. But I love lists and data collection. The process of elimination is super fun for me. I would love to know if anyone else vibes with what I'm saying here. It would make me feel a little better. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Phasmo is the comfiest horror game this scaredy cat has ever played. I thought I would discover while writing this, but alas, Phasmo keeps the secret of its magic over my brain. Hi! Thank you for watching to the end of my second YouTube video. I like this one more than the last one. It's less heavily edited, but it came out a little more natural. Yeah, so I think there's some improvement there. Let me know if I've converted any other scaredy cats over to the dark side that is Phasmo. As you can see, it took me like, what, almost 2 months, basically 2 months to come out with another video, and that's because my Twitch channel takes priority. I'm a streamer first and foremost, so if you like my giant dumb head, feel free to go check me out on Twitch. Phasmo is usually Thursdays at 7:30 Pacific if you'd like to join us. Yeah, and I've got other socials where I post a weekly schedule if you want to know for sure what I'm going to be about. Yeah, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm not sure what that's going to be about, but we'll get there when we get there. Alright, thank you. So today, let's investigate this instead of ghosts. I'm so cringe.